All right, we have one of the all-time busy shows for you with a star-studded lineup for you. Eoin is here.
How are you?
And Kenny Cunningham is here.
Morning, lads.
Kenny, how are you?
Yeah, all good, all good.
What's going on?
Oh, this time in the morning, lads, very little.
Yeah,
Very little, Scott.
you're
Gotta be honest with you.
not dressed in green. Will you be marching your traditional route tomorrow?
Like Eoin?
Oh, yeah.
Just checked it out
Dressed
there.
up
I
on
didn't...
Paddy's
yeah, I'm trying to look at the emblem. What emblem? What
I actually don't know what it is, to be
oh,
honest.
right, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yes, you do, Eoin. To try and make it, you just threw that on when you got out of bed, and even... Me and Jay are now different.
Tends to be what happens.
Hours of grooming before he comes into the studio. we all know that. Unlike Jay, obviously.
Anyway, we were just having a random enough
That's
conversation.
a compliment, by the way. Eoin.
Yeah, I've been taking it as one. Thank you, Kenny.
About St. Patrick's Day and the sporting action and the lack of sporting activity, and Eoin was expressing some interest in your school's GAA career.
Yeah. Show us your medals. Show us your school's medals is what I was asking. The context for this, by the way, is that the school's finals run in
two school medals. I didn't bring up this conversation. I don't know how it came up about the GAA.
We were just chatting about St. Patrick's Day and how the GAA in Croke Park now is the schools rather than the clubs.
Right, gotcha, yeah. I think the point I was making initially was that it'd be good to have some live sport on Paddy's. I haven't been in Dublin for Paddy's Day in a long time, but I like the idea of getting out of bed and heading down to whatever's your local venue and watching a bit, whether it's a bit of club GAA or county or whatever, and just taking in a bit of live sport just to break up the day a bit. Yeah, something about going to a bit of live sport, I think it's quite appealing. Paddy's Day, we know where it's going to end up. You know, we know where most people are going to end up on Paddy's Day, but
Delay the inevitable.
Yeah, I think it's nice to get out there, just break up the day a bit. No,
Are you a fan of the parade?
yeah, but I'm saying I haven't been, because I grew up from having this conversation with me brother yesterday. I grew up in Dorset Street, so when the parade came up, kind of saying around Parnell Square, it kind of finished at, do you know the Black Church?
Yeah.
You doing your little thing around North Dublin there, living your little walk. Yeah, there's a block of flats there. I don't know if it's Dorset Street Flats, what they're called. So we used to walk down. I lived off Blessing
Besides
Street.
St. Saviour's Boxing Club, is that where we are?
Yeah, not far, but we used to walk down from Blessing Street and walk into the flats onto the first or second level, and we used to get picked up and perched on the edge and just held there.
Michael Jackson style.
Pretty much so, yeah. Except there were about like 50 kids like in the same boat, like domino. It would have been a domino effect. If one kid had gone, about 50 would have gone. Anyhow, but that's where the parade finished. Just a Black Church there. People in the area would know it. So yeah, so that was we were lucky in that respect. We saw the whole parade come and finish. But no, I haven't seen it. I haven't been Dublin. I've been in Dublin for it could be 30 years since I've been in Dublin on Paddy's Day.
Will you go to the parade, Eoin?
I'll be in and around Dublin for sure. Whether or not I'll take in any of the parade remains to be
Can you get a
seen.
good view? Can you get? I can't be
don't know, I've
like
never been
turning
to it.
up and then it's, just caught a bit of.
You need to know somebody who has a roof, who's looking down on one of the streets that goes down. Otherwise, it's like.
What about your pen? Where's your penthouse, Jerry?
Exactly. Yeah. I just know you're.
I couldn't be asked with that now.
You're jammed in with a bunch of people who are like breathing all over you.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. The jury's out. I'm not. Haven't made my mind up now. I was thinking coming in for a few hours in the afternoon. Not sure it's going to be worth it though, is it?
Afternoon, it might be a little bit like a post-apocalyptic zombie takeover. Is it?
I'm hearing quite a lot of that. Is it as bad as that? Is
I
it?
don't know. Maybe it isn't. Maybe it isn't anymore.
Too much messing going on. Is there? I can't be. There's too much messing. It's a shame. I can't be dealing with all of that. Like
maybe the city has been reclaimed in the last couple of years because of COVID. We'll see. Let's get
live sport. That's my answer to it. Live sport.
That's one. That's definitely one answer. And speaking of zombies, Manchester United's season is over. Effectively, they can still. They can finish fourth. They can still finish.
So it's
fourth.
not over.
They could
Retract.
go. They could
Retract.
go. I take it back. They will be trophyless. Cristiano Ronaldo's first trophyless season in 12 years.
Is that right? Yeah.
Poor Cristiano.
I felt sorry for him last night. I thought there was one moment, lads, just kind of sums up where he is in his career. Late on in the game, maybe 10-15 minutes to go. He picked the ball up about 10 yards outside their penalty box on the right hand side. I think he fronted up one of the Atletico centre halves. I can't remember who it was. and he tried to knock it past him and run around him the other side, and
It didn't happen.
yeah, it was
Work for him.
just in terms of that acceleration now over 10, 15 yards, just nothing there at all. The defender didn't even have to work that hard to run backwards and take the ball off him. So just a small little snapshot where he is.
Stick your earphones in there for the first bit. We're going to listen to some of the post-match reaction. First off, here's David De Gea, pretty despondent, speaking to BT Sport.
No silverware again for another season for United. That's going to be 5 years now. It's not good enough for this club, is it?
Of course, it's not good enough. It's hard. It's hard for the club, for us, for the fans. It's really hard. This is where we are at the moment. Difficult situation, and we need to keep fighting, keep trying our best. But to be honest, it's a tough moment again. I feel sad. I feel for the fans as well and for everyone. But we are not good enough.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Short and sweet. Here's Ralph Rangnick, again, the interim boss, who's counting down the moments now until he's free from the burden of managing Manchester United. Here he is in the aftermath of their 1-0 defeat last night. Have a listen.
Well, I think we played a very good first half, exactly the way that we wanted to play. High energy level. Most of the game in the first half took place in their half. But unfortunately, we couldn't convert that energy into 1 or 2 goals. We hit the crossbar. We had another 1 or 2 good moments where we could have scored or should have scored, but we didn't. And then conceding that one counter-attacking goal short before halftime didn't make life any easier for us. And in the second half, it was difficult. I don't think that the game went for more than 3 minutes in a go. It was always interrupted. Somebody lying on the floor. I think also some curious refereeing decisions. I wouldn't say in the end that they were decisive, but at least he fell too often for those time-wasting antics. And in the end, 4 minutes extra time was just a joke for me. But anyway, very good first half. Second half, again, was difficult to find a rhythm again.
Ralph Rangnick blaming the slightly dodgy foreigners for their time wasting and the referee at the end of it. He's settled right into Manchester United life. This is good.
It's a part truth to what he's saying, but fundamentally it's just lack of quality, lack of confidence in that Manchester United team just come out in the second half.
This is their level. They will get beaten by a team who aren't even playing very well at the moment, but who know more what their own identity is in Atletico, who have a manager who knows this is what we're supposed to do. This is how we're going to do it over 2 legs. We just need to be in this at the end, and we'll outlast them, because Manchester United aren't good enough at the moment. This is their level.
No, they're not. You could argue whether they're better than what they're shown at the moment. That's when that bit of confidence comes in. They probably just can't trust themselves, United. I still think they're fighting, in all honesty. You can't trust them in terms of what type of performance you're going to get out. And first half was decent enough. I'd agree with the manager there in terms of intensity, energy levels. Still think they're lacking a little bit in real kind of quality. Had a lot of the ball. We were in there half the pitch. That's where we wanted to be. Well, initially, of course, that's where you want to be initially, but then it's what you do, how creative you are when you get into that area of the pitch, and how good you are, your combinations, what you're actually looking to do. So United is still a bit short there. Probably that, again, it's all been said, isn't it? That's kind of central midfield area. If you look at their first goal, even the small, now it wasn't the Llorente goal, the 2 goals actually, but even the Llorente goal that was disallowed just before the first goal. It's a great little combination play in the Atletico central midfield, Koke and DePaul, I think it is. The tight little area of the pitch under pressure. They play a little 1-2, bum around the corner,
which is exactly the same kind of not exactly the same, but the ability on the ball is exactly the same as the one that creates the chance in the end.
Yeah, exactly. But they get in behind the United midfield here, so it's just that little bit quiet, that central area of the pitch to work a bit of space, get somebody free, and then it's the ball in behind. First one was disallowed. Thought it was a great goal. Llorente just needed to check his run a bit before driving in behind, and then the second goal again, bum, quick passing. Little overload, not overcome, but quality there nevertheless.
Yeah, so with the goal comes after a dispute about whether or not Elanga was fouled, and then Manchester United, Ronaldo in particular, is chasing the referee, and actually they're not organised enough. And as soon as that happens, Atletico know what they're about. They know the counter-attack is on and the ball goes down the pitch really quickly.
But it goes down with a bit of quality. I think people talk down to Atletico too much. I mean, after the game, the black arts, and of course that's part of it, but you can't get away from. Yeah, but but it don't.
You can't complain about it when you know it's coming.
Yeah,
that's why Ranić pisses me off there, because it's like, Atletico Madrid under this manager are going to disrupt play and lie down and pretend they're injured. You know that's going to be the case.
Yeah, but that's a small facet. But that's a small facet of the game, Jared, isn't it? In terms of defensive organisation, how they defend their box, that low block is pretty impressive, to be honest with you. That's not like 10 players running around like kind of headless chickens after the ball trying to make tackles. They're kind of a cohesive unit in terms of how they defend, and even when they break out from that deep defensive shape, they do it with a little bit of quality. They're not just smash 40-yard long balls up the pitch for Griezmann and João Felix to chase. They look to play little 5-10 yard quick 1-2 passes to work their way up the pitch. So there's genuine, the point I'm trying to make is there's genuine quality there's a high technical level of ability there within the team. I wouldn't be a huge fan, maybe what Herrera for me, I wouldn't be a huge fan of. And I think back to when Koke played back in the day, and Saúl Ñíguez was at his very best in that central. But these lads can play 1-2 touch. And again, that United midfield, that engine room for United, you never feel as if Fred or McTominay can get on the ball on the half turn and play that clever little ball around the corner, that kind of eye of a needle pass. And that's not the only issue there. There's plenty more going on that we all kind of know about. But yeah, it all came undone a little bit. Had a bit of sympathy for. I've been there myself, to be honest with you. That frustration builds. You can sense it inside you. Just not good enough, this lot. They've got too much for us. You know what they're doing, spoiler taxis, but you can't do anything about it, really. The whole occasion kind of gets to you. The frustration boils up. Concentration wavers, the whole shebang. The game's getting away from you. You just feel as if there's nothing you can do about it.
I think it's like, it is worth lingering on the point that you made there. Another trophyless season for Manchester United. The first time since 1974 that they've gone 5 consecutive seasons without winning a trophy. And like, I just kind of was rewinding a little bit this morning to kind of remind ourselves of how big the fall off has been in this season alone. Like, I feel sorry for Manchester United fans, because in a way we all as sports fans go into every season with this sense of naivety that it's, we're going to win the title. Whoever you support or whatever your possible level is, you're going to think that we're going to reach that ceiling. But it wasn't just the Manchester United fans. It was the Manchester United players who thought they were going to win something this season. Like, after they beat Wolves 1-0 at Molineux back in August, the day after the Ronaldo signing had been secured, you had got David De Gea and Paul Pogba speaking in front of Sky Sports saying, now is the time to win titles. Even if you go through some of the social media reaction to Ronaldo's signing, like you had the likes of Marcus Rashford, for example, saying, wow, 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 he's home. Lingard saying, Viva Ronaldo. David De Gea with the blushing emoji. Bruno saying, Agent Bruno, welcome back home. Luke Shaw saying, I feel like it's given the club a massive lift, not just inside but outside. It's a big positive. He's one of the best players in the world, and he has been for the last number of years. David De Gea, in more longer quotes, said it's like a dream for all the Manchester United fans and for us to have him back. Like, this was the level that Manchester United felt they were at back in August. So even though it's been a nightmare 10 years for them, I would say that in the context of one season, this has been the worst. This is definitely the lowest point, because they thought it was going to be one of the highest points in the post-Alex Ferguson era.
Yeah. There was a bit of good feel, good vibes around the club at that time. You're right. It was a decent finish to last season. Was the tour they finished in the league under Solskjaer at the end of last season? I think it might have been. But you're absolutely right. I remember a bit of that Veranda come in, didn't he, just prior to that Wolves game as well, and initially played
second
quite well.
Actually last season.
Yeah, second, excuse me. Yeah, and it looked as if there was a partnership developing there between him and Harry Maguire. A lot of confidence around the team, everybody kind of talking things up. Never really felt it was going to be a title winning squad even then. You know what I mean? So you're saying like about trophies
isn't good enough.
I never thought that team was going to win the league this year, potentially Champions League. But yeah, you could have argued, well, one of the domestic competitions. I don't know if that's. I never quite buy into the fact that, the argument's been a trophyless season, as if United had gone and stole the Carabao Cup this season. That negates everything else. That where it's not as simple as that, is it? But those kind of basic fundamentals, I think, have always been there in terms of the lack of quality in certain areas of the pitch. But there has been a massive drop off in terms of the dressing room. The dressing room is obviously fractured a little bit. I think it's too simplistic to say Ronaldo coming into the dressing room has created that kind of schism in there. I don't think it's as simple as that.
But it gave them a sense that they could contend in Europe and in the Premier League, and all of a sudden everybody's like, right, we're ready to win now. And I definitely feel that was just another ingredient into the whole element of complacency that we've seen at times.
Yeah, but it's not like, I mean, at the moment there's I'm hearing a bit of like, oh, it's absolute mess.
It is. I think it is.
Where do you even start trying to put this thing right?
I think this is
what. Hold on.
Liverpool under Souness.
Are you one of these then? What direction?
Yeah.
How do we even? Look, it's not overly complicated in terms of the 4 steps you need to take going forward.
The only thing that can save Manchester United is Guardiola and Klopp leaving. Otherwise, they are staring down the barrel.
It depends what you mean by save.
They've got to win the league. Win the league.
That's
the standards. They're Man United standards. You can't deny that Ferguson decided and injected into the club, if we don't win the league or the Champions League, it's actually a failure of a season. If they won the FA Cup, and they sacked the guy who won the FA Cup. Van Gaal won the cup. In the lift afterwards, he got sacked.
Yeah. No, it is possible. I don't agree with you that unless Guardiola and Klopp go into that football. If they went in now, they wouldn't bring a title. If Guardiola and Klopp went into Manchester United now.
No, my point is they have to leave their current jobs. The only thing that's going to save Man United and get them back to a level where they're going to win a league is if Klopp leaves Liverpool and Guardiola leaves City. That's what they can pray for.
It's interesting what you're saying, but no, it's not true. Obviously, somebody is capable of going in there with the right type of backing behind him. Yeah, Tuchel's a fair point. Pochettino. I think these type of managers who could go in there with the right type of backing in terms of player recruitment could have United. I'm not saying it's going to happen in 12 months, but over the next 2 to 3 years, potentially could arrive at a place where they're challenging Manchester City and Liverpool. I think that's actually possible.
Maybe.
And it's just the fundamentals. You get the right manager, get the right
big deal.
Simple as that. Right manager and the right recruitment.
Okay, yeah.
Now, recruitment comes from the relationship between the manager and those people in around the board, wherever you want to give them, director of football, this, that, and the other, little committee, 1 to 2 person, whatever works. Just get your recruitment right, get the relationship right with the manager, but just fundamentally, that's the 4th step. Get the right manager in place, and you'd be surprised how big a jump forward you can take.
Yeah, okay. I agree with that. It's just
everything else, the dressing, split, everybody got their own agendas. That'll all change. Get the right manager in there, strong personality, organise the dressing room, clears out the dressing room, and then you're on your way. Gives the club. That's the bit of direction. That's the direction that you want. That comes from the manager.
Yeah, in fairness, if you look back at the team that Klopp inherited, very few of those players are still very important first team, and that took time for him. And I mean, with Guardiola, it was slightly different in that it looked like he had been influencing the transfer policy for a while, or certainly the gene pool that he came from had been influencing the transfer policy. But the job is a big job. You've got to get rid of. I don't know how many of that team you would actually say, yeah, I really want him in my team. Yeah, depending on what style of play you want.
Just get on with it then. Get on with it.
Yeah,
get the right manager in place and let him get on with it.
Have a listen to this. This is Paul Scholes talking about Rangnick in the aftermath of the game. Have a listen.
I think they're but I think they're a top-class coach away from getting back to anything near where they should be. I think, you look at the group of players, it's not that bad. There's some good players, some talented players, but for the last 2 years, or maybe even longer, they've not had an elite coach. To be an elite coach of a big football club, you need to have special qualities. You need to be able to get a team to play you want them to play, which is the most important, the philosophy you bring into it. You have to have a manager that strikes fear into players. Alex Ferguson had that. Have any of the other ones that they've had since done that? I don't think they do. I don't think they have. That's a special talent to get them players to be a little bit of afraid of you whenever they go out on a pitch. You're thinking, or even the training pitch, if I don't do what this manager wants me to do. You think of them City players, them Liverpool players with Jurgen Klopp, they'll get away with nothing. These players here for the last 2 or 3 years have probably got away with murder. So I only think they're a big coach away from... I'm not saying they're close to Liverpool and Manchester City. I don't think they're far away from Chelsea, squad-wise.
Yeah. I do think they're far away from Chelsea, squad-wise, to be honest. But he's saying what you were saying. Get on with it, get the right coach. It's just that they've screwed up the coach recruitment so badly over the last number of years. They gave Solskjaer another contract.
Yeah.
They hired Jose when the whole world knew that Jose's magic had disappeared. Van Gaal was such a random appointment who had not been great at club level in a senior important job in a long time. Do you know? Yeah. Their track record's not good.
So you can keep looking back and back, but it's all that matters is the next appointment. So just get it right, learn from your mistakes, look at the profile of the managers you want to bring in. There might be an argument for saying the coach we want to bring in is dependent on his style. I don't know, this seems to be the chat nowadays. This is how we want to play. This is our philosophy. We need to get a manager who fits this philosophy. I mean, that conversation was never had back in the day when I played. You brought in a manager to get you winning, to win football games. Now it seems to be a little different. You know, he has to tick the right amount of boxes in terms of how does he play? How does this manager play? Seems to be a big thing. Now, forget about many games that he wins. No, this is a philosophy that we want to see ingrained in the football club. So we have to get a manager who fits into that. So
Eoin brought up Tuchel. We talked about it yesterday in the show. Of all of the potential available managers in the summer, is he the one you would go after hardest?
I'm a big fan of Pochettino. Personally, I think he's got him and his backroom staff. I think when Paul Scholes says about an elite coach, for me, it's about the coach and his support staff. Some outstanding managers out there, but don't actually spend a huge amount of time on the training pitch in terms of hands-on, in terms of the tactical maybe set up of the team, and spending too much time 1v1 with the players. They leave that to their support staff, and that's when you need a very strong support staff around you. Always a bit of talk when Solskjaer left, the quality of the coaching staff around them, and that's true. That's important. If you're giving that responsibility to other people, if they're dealing with the players on a 1v1 basis, and these players are high profile, they better know their stuff. They better be winning those players over and bowling them over in terms of what they have to say, in terms of things that they're setting up on the training pitch. So it's not just the manager for me; it's the whole kind of management team, which is important. So I think Pochettino at this stage of his career now, I think he's ready. I think he's ready to step in. I think he'd be comfortable in that environment, and I think he'd get a lot of respect off the players. I liked how his teams have played. Not so much PSG, a bit of a madhouse over there. I don't think he can actually set them up ideally the way he wants because of the politics of that football club, who's got to play, etc. He wouldn't have that at Manchester United, and I think you'd see him lean back towards in terms of how that Spurs team played during his time there, and they played well in terms of the tactical setup of the team there, lads. They were very kind of flexible in terms of they went 4-3-3, they go a back three, kind of wing backs. He kind of flipped between the both. Whichever way they played, they were really kind of organised, tight-knit unit, in and out possession, kind of high energy. Say high press, it's a cliche thing to say. Most teams go in high press, don't get me wrong, but they done it in a really kind of cohesive way, and they were very successful at it, and he got the most out of that group. That's the best I can say. But at Spurs, he got everything out of that group of players, generally week in, week out. I think he could do the same. But Tuchel's a great. He wasn't even in the conversation, was he, a couple of months ago? But obviously, circumstances at the moment, it looks as if there might be an option there getting him. If that was the case, yeah, absolutely. Would he be on the short list? Yeah, I think he would. He is that type again in terms of personality, and he's smart.
Would you rather Pochettino or Tuchel?
Either. I have them both up there. I'm hugely impressed with Tuchel since he's come into Chelsea. He's very clear, even in terms of his pre-post match, when he's breaking things down, what he's presenting to people. Probably gives up too much information, to be honest with you, but you can see he's very clear, precise. Okay. You can say that's how he deals with the players, gives them good information, well organised, and that little bit of, wouldn't say arrogance, but real kind of strength and personality as well.
All right, Tennis Tank on YouTube is giving out about Scholes, putting the blame on the manager, not the players. And Peter G says the United talking heads are everywhere on TV. They're like the narrators of a Greek tragedy. This is what happened to Liverpool. This is exactly what happened to Liverpool, where their great team of the 80s all became TV pundits, and week on week were giving out about the team afterwards, when it was Roy Evans and Souness and Houllier and whoever. And those teams obviously always inevitably fell short, all the way up to even Benitez fell short, but he did win a Champions League, so maybe that's what United can hope for.
I think it's fair, isn't it? Could you say there wasn't too much there in what Paul Scholes had to say? I thought, that's outrageous in terms of what he said. He actually tried to back up he actually tried to give support the players there, Liverpool. So I think there's a really good squad.
Yeah, but that's not right. But that's not right.
Yeah, but that's not turning. That's
the
not
players
really
are on the field, and the players have to take responsibility for this. Okay.
Yeah, so, but you've made the point there about ex-Manchester United players jumping on the manager and beating him up. If you're saying they
defended Solskjaer.
Stand up.
They defended Solskjaer until he was over.
That's a little bit different. That's the opposite argument.
Yeah.
And now you're saying that's the opposite argument. They're looking after.
Well, they were.
Now I can understand that. Yeah, I think they were.
And
that's a natural thing, Jerry. You probably do the same. Well, Owen jumped across.
He throws me under the bus.
Took a big page increase from other radio station and whatever. There'd still be a little bit of warmth between you.
No.
You still have us back.
There is no warmth.
You still have us back, Jerry, wouldn't you? So I can understand.
We're colleagues, not acquaintances.
So the salt score thing and the United lads, do you know what? I don't mind saying that, because that tells me, do you know what? Even after all that time they've been apart, they've been out of the dressing room forever. It's 15 years, that group of players. Still a little bit of the natural reaction is still to defend their mate a little bit. In a funny way, I like to say it. But you're right in what you're saying. It's very difficult to be objective. But that's not the point you originally made. I've got to be honest with you.
I'm making multiple points.
The opposite.
It's a hive mind here. Colin Madon on YouTube says no manager will get those players to win the league. Atletico pressed Maguire every time he was on the ball. How he's playing with, never mind captain of United, mass player clear out needed, he says. One last point on this. Could he be, if Tuchel arrived, could he be saved in the back three the way, like, the lack of pace that Thiago Silva has isn't an issue for Chelsea because he's surrounded with pace and the manager is really smart and knows exactly what he's supposed to do? Is there a recuperation that somebody like Thomas Tuchel can save Harry Maguire and not be a complete waste of the 80 million they've spent?
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. You have to look at his qualities and think, do they outweigh maybe those small weaknesses in his game? So when you look at the qualities, you look at how dominant he is in the air, you look at his football and ability. Are you going to play in a manner in which you're going to ask, you're talking about a back three, your middle defender, to get on the ball and instigate your attacks, to kind of drive into midfield and be the launch pad for attacks from the back? If you are, then you're saying, well, maybe I can integrate this fella then into the team. I've got to protect him from the sides. I might have to play a lower defensive block, protect him in behind a little bit, all those things. So they're little things you have to kind of marry up. I'm not exactly sure, to be honest with you, Tuchel, when he looks at Maguire, he'd come to that conclusion. I just think that lack of mobility, kind of athleticism, and just in terms of where he is, I think mentally at the moment, he looks to be absolutely shot. Almost comes a point with a player you feel as if it'd probably be in his best interest.
Send him back to Leicester,
clubs.
try and get 20 million.
Well, they've taken Vestergaard from Southampton for 24. He's probably as clunky as Harry Maguire, and he can't get his way into the Leicester team either. So yeah, I feel as if you're right, Jared. There's an argument for in terms of can we get the best out of him, protect him at the same time. But I just feel as if at those top, how many of those top clubs, you look at Liverpool's back to like two centre halves, you look at the Manchester cities, others that you've mentioned, who carries somebody in the central defence, one or two of those players with those kind of deficient, particularly in terms of mobility and speed.
Thiago Silva's success at Chelsea is a bit mad. It is a bit mad.
He hasn't got much. He's on his last legs, to be fair.
He is on his last legs, but he's been on his last legs the whole time since he arrived.
But he's smart. He is smart.
I'm way over time. 7:57 this morning. OTB AM is brought to you live each morning by Gillette Labs for an effortless finish to your day.